Good morning, Eric Boehlert.
Hey, good morning.
By the way, Andrew Juncker also said, Marco Rubio, the vice chair of Senate Select Intelligence Committee, Committee on Intelligence, he must be investigated immediately for why he released an image of Zelensky after he was told doing so could risk Zelensky's life. Specifically, right? Jamie Harrison said, Leader McConnell, control your caucus, please. One of your folks is openly talking about assassinations, and two others are jeopardizing the safety of President Zelensky by sharing info he was asked by members not to share. Eric, there is, as I keep saying, there is no both sides in this, right?
Yeah.
Why every Republican was not asked about John Bolton's comments that, Putin was waiting for Trump to pull us out of NATO. This is why he's attacking now, because Trump didn't get back in for a second term. To let anyone get away with a talking point like Trump was so tough on Russia and this would never happen under Trump is insane, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, the Republican Party continues to be all over the place on this. I mean, my gosh, just 2 weeks ago, they were admiring Putin, and Fox News was admiring Putin. The press really seems to be scrambling to give them cover. I mean, the New York Times last week said Republicans are sharpening their attacks on Ukraine. No mention that the presumptive nominee from the Republican Party called the invasion genius. They are just, that is being flushed down the memory hole. Again, the Republican Party is kind of all over the place. Unlike Afghanistan, where they're very united, just beat Joe Biden like a drum. This is a party that is absolutely cozied up to this dictator. They have, the head of the Republican Party, Trump, out talking to donors, with wild claims about we should disguise our bombers and start bombing. I mean, my God. But the press is just kind of, portraying this as a problem for Biden and things like that. And real quick on Rubio, Jake Tapper asked him about that yesterday. He said, I had already sent that out before they asked. Rather than just having the decency of saying, I made a mistake, I'm sorry.
Right.
They're incapable of that, and they're always trying to spin away their idiocy.
Well, and you commented on Pence saying this weekend there's no room in the GOP for apologists for Putin, and you said it's a little late for this veiled nonsense. I mean, you can tell Trump doesn't know what to do now. He realizes the whole world has turned against Putin and this nonsense. So now he's scrambling, trying to sound tough by just saying nonsensical things when you're like, this wasn't 4 years ago, Eric. This is 3 days ago. You were complimenting Putin still.
Right. So the fallback position is, well, he didn't do it while I was president. He knew I would have been tough and things like that. But that doesn't make sense because, Trump tried to weaken every possible economic sanction that Congress was putting before, putting against Russia. The Mueller report detailed all this crazy, interference and Trump did nothing.
Yeah.
Obviously, the first impeachment was all about withholding military aid from Ukraine because they felt they were under pressure from this madman next door. Sound familiar? Normally, and we talked about this a week or so ago. I mean, normally this would be portrayed as a political problem for the Republican Party, specifically a midterm problem for the Republican Party.
Yeah.
If the presumptive nominee is out there on Putin's side, you would think we'd have an avalanche of political analysis. Oh my God, how did the Republican Party get caught on the wrong side of the history? How did they get caught on the wrong side of the polls? How are they going to scramble to save their, the House campaigns? You don't see boo. There isn't a word about this. And just real quick, it's really interesting. Fox News has just completely, utterly failed on the Russia stuff. There was a poll last week. Republican support for Putin has gone from 28% to 6% in 2 years. So even their viewers aren't buying this stuff.
Yeah.
And the Republican Party went out on a limb and they thought it would be fun to beat up Biden and kind of cozy up to Putin even a week or two ago.
Yeah.
But the Republican press the political press doesn't see this as a problem for the GOP because they're always so savvy. They'll figure it out.
Yeah. And by the way, the advisor, John Bolton says he, Pompeo, and Esper were appalled at how Trump treated Ukraine, that he believes Trump was going to pull the U.S. out of NATO in his second term. And that's what Putin was waiting for before moving forward with plans to invade. I mean, to let anyone get away with this nonsense on TV that Trump was tough on Russia and, this wouldn't have happened under Trump is just, it's the height of gaslighting, right? But you're right that this is where the media's both sides do it, and we have to be even-handed. Is there's good and evil here, Eric? There's no both sides.
Oh yeah, no, the press absolutely does not want to portray the Republican Party as anything but a mainstream center-right entity. And of course they're being serious about foreign policy. Oh my God, did you see I tweeted about this yesterday. Trump's incoherent, rambling idiocy Friday night speech or Saturday night speech to Louisiana donors. The next day, Washington Post says Trump focuses on foreign policy in speech to donors. I mean, my God, are you kidding me? Focuses on foreign. He's a rambling, incoherent madman.
Oh, the thing about using Chinese planes and painting them a different color and saying China did it. Oh my God.
That's focus, and they just normalize. Oh, he's shifting his attention to diplomacy. And please, Washington Post, inform us everything Donald Trump knows about foreign policy.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. By the way, you tweeted people aren't going to know the economy's doing well if the press won't report that the economy's doing well. So the president has to do it himself. Real quick, here we are.
Earlier this week in my State of the Union address, I said there was something happening in America, starting with historic economic recovery that we're seeing right now. And today, we've learned that in February, our economy created 678,000 new jobs.
Right. That was following the greatest year of job growth in American history and the fastest economic growth in almost 40 years. Chuck Todd literally reported the jobs numbers in February yesterday, Eric, and then said, "Oh, but wait till you get those revisions," and then went to commercial. I'm like, wait, aren't the revisions usually up? Right? It's even usually normally they're even better than the numbers that.
Oh, it's possible they'll be at 800,000.
Right. The president. One more.
Over the course of my presidency, our economy has now created 7.4 million jobs. More jobs created in a 13-month period than any time ever before in our history. And we've learned that in February, the unemployment rate fell to 3.8%, down from 6.4% the day I took office, beginning in 2021, which is the fastest decline in unemployment rate in recorded history.
In all the stories about Biden bad, Democrats in disarray, Rachel Bitecofer tweeted, Biden and the Democrats' fiscal response to the pandemic will go down in history as the best managed and mitigated crisis in history.